Which dog breeds live the longest, and how long do they actually live? Do small dogs actually live longer than large dogs? Do mixed breeds live longer than pure breeds? And even if your dog's breed is said to live a certain number of years, is there any way to bust that number wide open and extend your dog's life by many years? Let's take a look. Hi, I'm Ingunn, the Norwegian Viking behind Viking Dog Girl. I'm all about science. Science gets me excited. I have a master's in physics and mathematics, so my real passion is dogs. So I use all that critical analytical thinking to analyze all sorts of studies on dogs. And my goal is to help your dog be as healthy, happy, and live as long as possible. Now, the lifespan of different dog breeds really depends on where you look. So there are lots of websites out there that claim all sorts of lifespan for different breeds. Often it's a range from, for instance, 10 to 12 years or even 10 to 15 years for some. However, a lot of these websites don't actually mention their source. So how do you know that this is actually based on reality and it's not just a number that they kind of thought up themselves? And that's why we're not really going to just look at a random website, we're going to look at studies. So what we'll look at is the median lifespan of different breeds. However, we'll also look at how long the longest lived dogs within the study that we'll look at lived. So which breeds had the longest lived dogs within that study. Plus, we'll also look at 3 dogs who have been claimed to live extremely long lives, possibly the longest lived dogs on Earth ever. Now, the main study we'll look at is a study from the UK which was published in 2010, and it's based on more than 15,000 dogs. And the study is based on questionnaire responses from dog owners who were members of breed clubs. Now, in total, the median lifespan of all of these dogs were 11.25 years. And the dog breeds that had the longest median lifespan were these. Now, one thing that's quite interesting is that all but 2 of these 14 of the longest median lifespan breeds were toy breeds or small breeds. However, as we'll see later in this video, the small breeds or toy breeds might not actually be the ones that live the longest overall. Now, in this list, there are a few dog breeds that have very few dogs actually representing the breed in this study. So for these dog breeds, the median lifespan isn't very reliable. So if we remove those that had, let's say, less than 40 dogs actually represented in this study, we get this list. Now, these dogs are not the most popular dog breeds, so soon we'll look at the most popular dog breeds, the 10 most popular dog breeds, and look at their average or median lifespan. First though, let's just compare the study that we just looked at with a different study from 2013, which was also from England, based on more than 5,000 veterinary records of dogs. Now, this list, as you may see, is pretty different from our previous list. However, this study didn't include a lot of the different dog breeds that were high up on the first study's list. They simply didn't include those dog breeds, probably because they didn't have enough data on different dogs within that dog breed, or those dog breeds. Now, if we compare the median lifespan of these breeds from this study compared with the previous study, we can see that it's pretty similar. Of course, we would expect it to be the case, especially because both of these studies are from the UK or England. Now, even though these studies or these values are pretty similar, we can still see that different studies may yield different values. And the values will depend on a lot of different factors. For instance, how many dogs were actually included in the study for each of the different breeds, how those dogs were actually chosen. For instance, that they were from the UK could make a difference compared to if we did a similar study in the US, for instance. And there are a lot of other factors as well that could influence these values. So the lifespan isn't set in stone. Actually, not at all, which we'll soon see when we look at the maximum age of a few different dog breeds within that first study that we looked at. First though, let's look at the median lifespan of the 10 most popular dog breeds based on the American Kennel Club's 2019 list. So these are the 10 most popular dog breeds based on that list, and these are their median lifespan based on that first study that we looked at. Now, the American Kennel Club, on their website, they also list the life expectancy of the different breeds. So I'll include those right here. Now, as we can see for several of these, they correspond pretty well with the results from the study. Though, especially for bulldogs, it seems to be pretty far off. So what happened there? Are bulldogs not living as long as they're supposed to? Because the study is based on actual data. Or maybe bulldogs in the UK live shorter lives than bulldogs in the US. And I think the life expectancy for the poodles is a bit crazy, isn't it? It's almost it's an 8-year difference. It's almost like the highest life expectancy year is almost twice as much as the lowest. That's crazy big. That's a crazy big range. Now, in that study, they also mentioned the age of the longest lived dog within each of the breeds within that study. So within that data, all the data from that study. So I'm going to include that here. Now, what that really illustrates is that even though the median lifespan may be not that high, the potential can still be very high for the dog within that breed to live a very long life. If you look at the Rottweiler, for instance, the median lifespan within that study was pretty low, though the longest lived Rottweiler within that study lived almost twice the median lifespan. Actually, if we do the same for the bulldog, the longest lived bulldog within that study lived more than twice as long as the median lifespan within that study. So there's definitely potential for dogs to live a long life, even if the median lifespan of that breed is not that high. Now, before we look at the incredible ages of a few different dogs, do remember to click that subscribe button and turn on notifications for a lot more tips on all things dog. And also remember to follow me on Instagram at VikingIngun. Now, let's look at the 4 dogs or the 4 breeds that had the highest maximum age within that study. Namely, these. As you can see, the 4 longest lived dogs became more than 20 years old. Actually, one of them even turned 23 years old. Imagine celebrating your dog's 23rd birthday. Isn't that crazy? Now, note that 3 of these were small dogs and one of them was a medium-sized dog. Actually, 23 might not sound that old if you actually look at the oldest dogs ever. Now, the Guinness World Record of oldest dog ever is a dog named Bluey. It's an Australian cattle dog that became 29 years old. Actually, 29 years and 5 months. However, there are a couple of dogs that have unofficially surpassed Bluey. They're unofficial because they're not actually verified how old these dogs became. One, because there was no paperwork. One of them was Maggie the Kelpie from Australia that apparently was 30 years old before she died. That's pretty crazy for a dog, huh? And another one was said in a newspaper in 1984 to have turned 32 years old before she died. That was Chilla, a Labrador and cattle dog mix. That's pretty incredible if you ask me. Most people don't get to celebrate their dog's 20th birthday, yet some dog owners get to celebrate their dog's 30th? Now, some people say that mixed dog breeds live longer lives than purebred dogs. And so, is there really anything to that? One Danish study from 1997 on almost 3,000 dogs found that the median lifespan of all of those dogs back then was 10 years. However, the median lifespan of the mixed breeds were 11 years. So with that, it seems like mixed breeds might actually live longer than purebred dogs. However, there were specific purebred dogs that were, for the different specific breeds, they surpassed the median lifespan of the mixed breeds. So they might live longer than the average, but they don't necessarily live longer than all the different breeds. A British study from 1999 of more than 3,000 dogs pretty much agreed when they said mongrels live longer than average, but several breeds live longer than mongrels. For example, Jack Russells, miniature poodles, and whippets. And one of the studies I've already mentioned earlier also agreed with that, saying that the results of multivariable modeling indicated that longevity in crossbred dogs exceeded purebred dogs by 1.2 years. So the thing is, there may be something to this, that mixed dog breeds may live on average a bit longer than most dogs in general, though that doesn't mean that they will surpass all purebred dogs. And from what we have seen here today, it pretty much comes down to the individual dog. Small dogs may live on average more than larger dogs, especially giant dogs. However, some of the longest lived dogs ever didn't seem to be that small. So there's definitely potential. And what is it that really determines how long dogs live anyway? So genetics will definitely have something to say. However, that's not the only thing. And there will also be things that have happened in the past that we can't change that will affect whether or not our dogs will live a long life. However, there will also be things that we can do right now to actually potentially even extend our dogs' lives, possibly by many years. And things like that we can actually control include food, the environment that our dogs live in, the amount of exercise, their weight, like body fat percentage, how much stress they go through, the different chemicals or toxins that they might get exposed to, plus different other factors. The good news is that we can actually influence our dog's lifespan, and seeing how some dogs live very long lives, that's pretty encouraging, isn't it? Now, one thing that I believe is one of the most important factors when it comes to our dog's health in general and how long they will actually live based on things that we control ourselves is what they eat. And with that in mind, I really do suggest, if you haven't already, sign up for my free online class where I share 3 suspiciously hidden dangers in dog food that may even cut your dog's lifespan in half, even premium dog food, as well as 3 powerful yet simple whole foods to instantly boost your dog's meals and take back control. Since food can have such a huge impact on our dog's health, and we see that the median lifespan of dogs is not really that high, especially when you see the potential of how long the dogs can actually live. So what most people feed their dogs may not actually be the best thing, even though we're told that this is very healthy food for our dogs. So I really do suggest that you check out that free online class by clicking this link or going to this link right here, which I'll also link to in the description of this video. Before you go though, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and share it with your friends and family. Give your beautiful dog a hug from me, and I'll see you next time.